Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another World of Tanks subscriber replays video. Gonna have a collection of replays for you today, featuring low to mid-tier tanks that, well, honestly you don't see that often, so I thought we'd showcase them here. Kicking off proceedings with I Am Not Dave, always love that name. He is driving his Panzer T15. This is a tier 3 German premium light tank that you really don't see very often, to the point that I don't really know anything about it. What we got? It seems relatively quick, like happily going around at 50 odd kilometers an hour. The gun is pretty awful, 40 damage, 42 penetration. It's basically a tier 2 gun. Maybe even tier 1. That pen goes up to 74 with premium ammunition. The gun really looks lackluster. Although since, of course, the matchmaking was changed, tier 3s can no longer see tier 5s. So the worst they can get is tier 4 matches, which is what this is. Here on, what's the name of the map? Fisherman's Bay, there we go. Initially you tried to do a little bit of spotting, but no great success. So we're just going to see how he performs. Now, I have genuinely never seen a T15 game on any channel ever before. Which means I really don't know what to expect. I don't own this thing. I've never played it. I've never seen it played. I've only occasionally come across them in games, but only very rarely. But anyway, it seems to be a fast tier 3 light tank with a pretty poo gun, as far as I can work out. I'm sure Dave is going to correct me if that happens to not be the case. So, one thing that is interesting about it, I don't know what the actual view range on this tank is. I must confess, I haven't bothered to look it up before recording this. I'm sure someone will let me know, or anyone can look it up at any old time. But it looks like, at least with binos equipped, you can get right up to the view range cap. Which is an interesting feature of a tier 3 machine. Usually they have deeply mediocre view ranges, but the fact that you can hit max view range with binos is definitely a plus for this tank, in my opinion. So, Marder over there, but Dave wasn't the one to spot him, although Dave might be able to do a little bit of damage to that guy. Just cresting the ridge line here. He's being careful. I mean, he is a relatively small tank here after all. Marder 38T, though, is the other side of that little outcrop there. And unfortunately, Dave's team is collapsing, which is a bit of a shame. But there we go. Marder 38T is moving forwards, which is an interesting move in what is a very fragile tank destroyer. With a good gun, but very fragile and not particularly quick. Dave isn't even paying him any attention, seems to be pretty confident that his team can finish the guy off. And he is just bush hopping down the 1 and 2 lines here, presumably trying to see if he can come across and find those campers. Nope, that Marder 38T is still alive, but there is an Su-85B who is also moving forwards. It's the charge of the tank destroyers, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I would say Dave has found the happy campers, but they're not really campers if they're kind of holding down the W key, I guess. The base, however, is in a very sorry state. The scoreline is 2-8-3-8 as the Su-85B dies, but the Marder's still alive, I feel I should point out. And so far Dave has picked up a little bit of assistance damage on that Su-85B, but hasn't been able to do a huge amount. Not really a huge fault of his, and would you credit it? The Marder lived for that long, and then just as Dave got in position to do something about it, his team deleted the guy. 4-10 is now the scoreline. So, T46 over here. Dave just dropping down, coming at him from an hopefully unexpected angle. There we go, T46. Oh, he's dead. Never mind. Ooh, M2 medium. This gun might be bad, but shooting other tier 3s, most of the time it will do the job. There's a Panzer 1C over here as well that Dave should probably be a little careful of. Now you could argue it's perhaps ill-advised for Dave to be just shooting away at this guy, but honestly it's tier 3. The chap he's shooting most likely doesn't have the view range to do anything about Dave's shots here. Dave thought that guy was dead there, and he actually gets spotted for that little bit of movement. That was a mistake. Bit unlucky. Scoreline is 7-12, by the way, in case you hadn't been paying attention. Another M2 medium to deal with. Nope, nothing happening. Panzer 1C over here and a Panzer 3E. Now, Panzer 1C can be a very, very dangerous little tank. As you can see there, as he happily penetrates Dave's tank without too much difficulty. Firing armor-piercing ammunition, the penetration on that Panzer 1C is terrible. But these little light tanks don't have much armor to speak of. But Dave is trying to hunt this guy down. There we go. Takes a little bit more damage before doing so, but manages to take the guy out. Loses his radio operator, and you may have noticed that Dave is not actually running a med pack in this game. Not sure if that's intentional, or if it's just he hadn't put auto resupply consumables on. Switching to armor-piercing composite rigid ammunition now. I must confess, I think personally I'd be saving that for the likes of the Hetzer, as he's already demonstrated that this gun is capable of dealing with an M2 medium, but the medium's dead anyway. And the Panzer 3E, well, no, to be fair, oh, there's the Hetzer. The Panzer 3E does actually now have a little bit of armor. Lower plate on the Hetzer. Yeah, no joy. And this guy just provides the Hetzer with some cover. Well done, mate. Well done. So there's only 2 of them left on the friendly team. Although they have managed to rack up enough kills that the enemy team are down to 6 tanks left, which is still not great odds. Never mind. A shot from the enemy artillery kills the enemy Panzer 3E in one shot, and, well, I guess that makes it 5 tanks on the enemy team. Hetzer here. Dave certainly doesn't need APCR for the side of a Hetzer, but at this point I don't think he's really paying too much attention to which ammo he's firing, and is far more concerned with just killing these guys. Bit surprised that LTVZ managed to bounce those shots on Dave. Only one of them penetrated, but there we go. And now there's 4 enemy tanks left, and Dave. And actually, for a moment, because the friendly Chiha died before the Hetzer, for a moment Dave was 1 versus 5 here. LTVZ is actually quite dangerous. Has, if he's using the top gun, not sure that he is, but has a 3-round autoloader. Takes a hit there from the LTVZ, which is a little unfortunate, but then decides to bug out. So we've got this LTVZ and 3 artillery pieces to deal with, and Dave is our man of the moment. Oh, lovely, probably slightly lucky, but either way, lovely dodge there, so that he didn't get railed by the enemy artillery. I think that was probably a shot from the Sexton. Pretty sure the Vesp and the Panzer Soufflé would have both caught him with their splash, but the Sexton doesn't really have any splash to speak of. So Dave is going to bomb it along here, and he's looking to try and eliminate that LTVZ. If he can kill that Czechoslovakian light tank, that takes out the eyes of the enemy team and the artillery. Whilst they certainly don't become no threat whatsoever, you can never rule any tank out, certainly not artillery, they do become less of a threat when they don't have someone spotting for them. Now that LTVZ does not appear to be sitting where he previously was, or I don't know, because from where Dave is positioned, actually, if that LTVZ was still there, I'm pretty sure Dave wouldn't spot the guy anyway. Blind shot there from artillery, you could see the explosion, and Dave is just trying to play the patience game here. Pretty sure, well, no, you never know. That's the thing with the LTVZ, because it has that 3-round autoloader. That could, it's 40 damage per shot if memory serves, so that'd be 120 damage from a magazine, and that would put paid to Dave's T-15. Someone is in the capture circle, probably that Czechoslovakian tank. Do need to be a little careful there. So Dave's going to have to do something about that. If he can do it using these bushes with relative safety, I mean, that would be great. And there's a very good chance that this guy does not have a particularly good crew. And Dave here is packing, well, presumably at least not a completely scrubbed crew and binos. So he should, fingers crossed, have the view range advantage. Also got a caminet, so that should play to his favour as well. And binos up, and there's the LTVZ as predicted. Now if Dave were to pull back here, just to make sure this LT can't spot him. Dave just waiting to get the flat side of that Czechoslovakian tank, although honestly, the frontal armour shouldn't pose a huge problem, as the LTVZ doesn't have much in the way of frontal armour. So Dave's able to kill that Czechoslovakian tank and push onwards. He is on 4 kills now. He is against 3 enemy artillery, and there is 5 minutes left on this match. Switching to high explosive here, which is a brave choice. The high explosive from this gun, 18 penetration and 45 damage. I must be honest, High explosive is often a good ammunition choice against artillery as long as you know where to shoot. However, the high explosive from these low tier guns, I mean, is this a 37mm gun, maybe a 45? It's a 37mm gun. This low tier high explosive is so bad that I don't even bother carrying it. Usually I carry at least one round of high explosive, but this low tier stuff is such junk. I think it'd be better off firing the armor piercing, and actually screw the armor piercing, switches to armor piercing composite rigid. Spots the enemy artillery, doesn't appear to get spotted himself, and this allows him to pew-pew the Sexton. It might seem a bit weird loading APCR for the Sexton, but honestly that Sexton has basically got this very similar armour to an M3 Lee in places. It can bounce things here or there. And as I mentioned earlier on, this gun is pretty terrible. It would be an unimpressive gun on a tier 2 tank. So that's the Sexton dealt with. We've got this Panzer Soufflé and the Vesp remaining. 4 minutes 20 left on the clock. And Dave is going to have to either find these guys or drive into the capture circle. Now, the Panzer Soufflé and the Vesp, they're not the fastest machines in the world. The Panzer Soufflé in particular is pretty sluggish. The Vesp is a little faster. So, yeah, Dave could try and hunt these guys down here. Or he could try and sit in the capture circle. He has to be a little cautious because he does have less than 4 minutes on the clock at this point. And so, especially if these artillery have split up, there is the very real chance that this could just end in a draw. And as it is, Dave is going down the centre of the map. He hasn't gone straight to the typical artillery positions, which might be a mistake. I mean, this is only a low tier game. You don't expect the enemy artillery to be that competent. And I'm pretty sure the Sexton didn't spot Dave's tank out anyway. And again, there, Dave was not spotted. This Panzer does not know Dave is here. Well, he does know he's somewhere around now. And Dave is just lighting this guy up. Dave might need to move forward a little bit just to reacquire his target. Oh, looks like the guy still hasn't spotted him. One more shot should do the business. There we go. There goes the Panzer Soufflé. Under 3 minutes left on the clock. So Dave has to find this Vesp or get into the cap circle. You need 1 minute 40, well, a little over 1 minute 40 to cap. And Dave is on 2 minutes 40. So he can try and hunt down this last artillery piece, or he can just jump in the capture circle. Looks like he's going to go for the artillery. This could be a problem if the artillery is over in somewhere like A8 or A9, or if the guy has just decided to get clean out of dodge. Because we're getting to that stage where Dave really doesn't have the chance, or doesn't have the time, to approach his target cautiously. He's just going to have to go for it. And at this point, if I were him, I think I'd be very tempted to just be driving over to the cap circle and try my luck at capping. 2 minutes left on the match. If Dave's going to try and cap, I think he's realistically out of time and is going to have to hunt down that Vesp at this point. Especially now if he's going to use these bushes. Under 2 minutes left. No. Now, I know what Dave's doing. He's trying to use the bushes, get into them, wait that few seconds for his binos to come up to give him the best possible chance of spotting the enemy artillery, but it's yeah, Dave's not capping at this point. It's every second counts in these situations. Again, he's stopping here. He's already demonstrated that even without his binos up, those artillery tend not to spot him. So I don't think he needs to be quite this cautious, personally. But there we go. If it were a higher tier match, maybe, but down here, tier 3, tier 4, not so much. This Vespa's already demonstrated that he's an incredibly competent player by TKing a friendly tank, so perhaps we shouldn't be too worried about the guy. And as it is, the enemy artillery not actually down here, and there's less than a minute left on the match. Come on, Dave. Can you find him? Come on. Having to go through the town here, which is not ideal. Looks like the Vesp may just have decided to get out of dodge, which is, on the one hand, not a terrible plan. On the other hand, it's kind of accepting that I guess the match is going to be a draw, which is a bit of a shame because that will count as a loss for both players or both teams. Come on, Dave. Come on. 26 seconds. And plus, of course, the time needed to physically kill the guy. and I don't think he's going to find him. There he is. There is the Vesp looking in Dave's direction. Dave's puts one shot in. Second shot. He does not have the time to put in the last shots. And the game ends in a draw, which is a shame, but there we go. Let's see how well Dave did after that heartbreak. So, that was a draw in the end, unfortunately for I Am Not Dave in his T15 Ace Tanker. Fire for effect, shell proof, which is a little bit surprising, but there we go, I'm not going to complain. Duelist, high caliber, top gun, and a Pascucci's medal. 1,118 damage done, 6 kills, 677 base experience, plus heroic resistance on top of that. The rest of his team were pretty uninspiring. Enemy team, also not that fantastic, but overall just better than Dave's team here. Dave really was the outstanding player from either team, however, especially when you consider he wasn't top tier. 48 shots fired, 40 hits, 31 penetrations, 1,118 damage, as I said. Most of it, well, say 2/3 of it from relatively close range. 32 hits received, remember some of that was an autocannon. 13 penetrations, 19 did not, for 302 damage blocked by his armour. 4 enemy tanks spotted, 8 damage, 6 killed, 124 assistance damage, 60 defence points, 7.25 kilometres travelled. It's not very often that you say that. And despite firing quite a lot of APCR that match, he still made a profit with a premium account. The only thing I would say about that match, and I don't want to be too critical because Dave was clearly the best performing player on either team in that game by quite a large margin, but often you get people who ask when is the best time to cap, or when is it appropriate to cap and when is not a good time to do so, and I would say that was a prime example of when you do want to jump into that capture circle. You're running out of time, there's still a tank on the enemy team left to hunt down, and you're not guaranteed to find them and kill them. So I would say at that point, jump into the capture circle and take your chances that way. That's just my own personal opinion. Anyway, unfortunately a bit of a heartbreak there for Dave, but still a good result in his T15. For our second replay then, we are moving up to Tier 4 and we join Isla in the Swedish Tier 4 medium tank, I think it is, the Largo. He is platooned up with Bomber J, both from the 102nd Clan, and Bomber J is in the Panzer IIIJ, which I haven't played, but I have not heard particularly good things about. I believe it's a premium tank. Anyway, I digress. They're here on El Haluf, of course it is, and it's a Tier 6 match, so whoa, cliff sliding, Stuart. It's a good thing that Isla didn't lose any health in that little nuzzle. That was rather enthusiastic, let's say enthusiastic of the Stuart there. So Isla is here in a Tier 6 match. He is bottom tier, he has a pretty potato crew. And the Largo, whilst I don't really know much about it, I haven't played it yet myself, I mean, I haven't heard anyone say it's particularly great, and judging by this aim time, I would say that was a massive lag spike there. Judging by the aim time, well, I mean, as I say, we already know Isla's crew is kind of potatoey. Oh, and Bomber J's been taken out by an SU-100, c'est la vie. But I don't get the impression the Largo is a particularly special tank. What have we got to work here? We've got a 75mm gun, 110 average damage, 88 penetration is not very good. Then again, it might be not fully upgraded. We do have to bear that in mind. But then again, it is only Tier 4. I mean, 88 penetration is usually enough for most tanks' sides and rears at that sort of tier. That accuracy, good lord. Managed to get hit on the IKV-103 though. Just using this bush here too, as it turns out, pretty decent effect. There is a Covenanter, pretty sure a shot here would get Isla spotted, so he quite sensibly doesn't pull the trigger. And resumes sitting in das Bush. And we just wait to see what happens. So we've got an STVZ38 over here. Oh no. A VZ39, sorry, that's the Tier 4, my apologies. I think Well, there was a massive lag spike, or it looked like a massive lag spike for Isla earlier on. Don't know if he's suffering a little bit with his internet connection in this. Time will tell. But either way, that STVZ-39 goes up to the great Czechoslovakian tank graveyard in the sky. Isla just looking around, seeing what else he can find. He knows there's a Covenanter, or was a Covenanter, over to his left-hand side. Now, the thing with that tank is it could be using the Bofors gun, which would give it a 200, I think it's 200 damage magazine or something similar. So in the time it would take, I mean, basically Isla could lose quite a bit of health to that guy if he were to engage him directly, even ignoring the guy's support. As it is, he's only on 80 odd health, so not too bad, but does have some support. Hello, Mr. SU-100. You're the guy who killed Bomber J earlier on. Covenanter's dead anyway. Isla goes for a shot on the flank of this SU-100, but good lord, the shell velocity on this gun is horrendous by the look of it. The Largo, another tank I've really not looked at all. I'm slowly working my way up this line. I'm at tier 2. I did say slowly. Trying to get the ace on the tier 2, and then we'll move ourselves up to the tier 3. Ditto for the Swedish tank destroyers. So we will get there eventually, in the end. One day. Scoreline's 5-5. And, oh dear, there's a Lux. Lux is a very dangerous tank. Ooh, Isla does get a penetration there. Looks like the Lux might be reloading his mag, however, as the magazine reload on that tank can be relatively long, but the Lux is dead. So let's not worry too much about that. 6-5 becomes 6-6 as the friendly Excelsior gets himself Wolverined. And the friendly SU-100 decides to lose his cool at some of the allied tanks. 7-7 is now the scoreline, as tanks are blowing each other left, right, and centre. Wait, blowing each other up left, right, and centre. The word up was supposed to be in that sentence. Let's just pretend that the word up was in that sentence, and then everyone will be happy. Spots a Hell Kitty. Oh, that's a dangerous machine. Can kill Isla here in 2 shots, or 1 shot if he loads HE and penetrates. Not quite sure what the armour on the Largo is like. Probably not very good. It's only tier 4 at the end of the day. Most tier 4s have pretty awful armour. The Matilda being a notable exception. Having said that, if Isla is able to spot this Hellcat out, there's a Panzer 38 behind him, there's a Wolverine, an IKV 65-2, and a T-82 HMC, and we all know how much artillery loves nuking open-topped tank destroyers. So that is a possibility, and it would be nice. Isla doesn't really want to get shot for it, though. Oh, there go his tracks. Repairs the tracks. And there's a friendly Panzer IV-H here as well. And Isla is now discovering the hard way that getting up this incline is not as easy as one might hope once you've fallen down here. Oh dear. Never mind. So, change of plan. Screw this. Let's go the other way. Possibly if this thing were fully upgraded, its engine might have had the grunt to do it, but pretty sure this is not fully upgraded. And okay, that's not a sight you want to see. That thing packs quite a big gun, even if it has problems. Thankfully the guy missed, and that is one of this gun's problems. And Isla is just closing the distance here. Trying to keep that rock between himself and the IKV until he's nice and close and able to wreck the fella. There we go. Shot misses. They both miss, but Isla's going to reload before this TD does. Shot into him, leaves the IKV 103 a 1 shot for Isla here. And hopefully he's not going to get nuked in the face. Oh dear, nope, that one missed. Gotta love these potato crews. And there we go. Kills the TD, and oh god, there's a Bert. Puts a shot into Bertie boy. And for those of you wondering why Bert is taking so long to turn around, well, it's been a long time since that tank was the ridiculously fast jousting monster that it used to be. So there is that. Isla should hopefully be able to kill this FV304. That would be quite a valuable kill. That machine can still be dangerous, even if it's not the tank it once was. Is this guy still around the corner, or has he decided to bug out, which would be the sensible thing to do? Well, he doesn't... Oh, no, there he is, still looking the wrong... Okay, that's just his own damn fault. I mean, like, seriously, turn around, dude. Use any of the senses available to you, and I'm not even talking about sixth sense in the game. Oh, well, there we go. Kill number 2. Hell Kitty, Isla could use some of his high explosive here. I wonder what the penetration on these HE rounds is. 38. Maybe not. Either way, one more shot should kill this Hell Kitty. A bit like that. And that becomes Isla's 3rd kill. Birch Gun shoots him, 91 damage, and takes out Isla's loader, but he puts the loader back in. And the Birch Gun is a pretty weedy artillery piece, but I didn't mind it too much. It does have a fully rotating turret, which is in its favour, even if the other stats on it are a bit nyeh. So Isla comes around here, eyeing up the Birch Gun for some more damage, and misses that shot. Birch Gun misses his shot in return, and Panzer IV-H takes out the Birch Gun. Isla is now here in the cap. If this Panzer IV can come and join him, then they might be able to win this game by capping, as the problem is, whilst there's only 2 tanks left on the enemy team, and on the friendly team they have 4 tanks, yeah, Churchill 1 and a KV-1S are better than a Panzer 38NA, a T-82 HMC, not fully upgraded Largo. There's also a Panzer IV-H in there as well, of course. And it looks like actually the guys can win just by capping here. They should have enough of a lead, and there's 2 in each capture circle. So this is a nice example of when capping is a good idea. You would not at this stage want to drive all the way across the map, because you'd never get to the Churchill or the KV-1S in time anyway, and by sitting in the capture circle you can guarantee the win regardless. So there we go. Isla and this Panzer IV-H, oh, I say they guarantee the win, but they've both hit 100. Now everyone would be thinking, surely Isla's team win here, surely they win, but, well, this is wargaming. We all know how they like to throw a spanner in the works occasionally, even if it's not always intentional. So maybe this is actually not a win? And you know what, at the time of recording this, I honestly can't remember. Let's go and have a look at the post-game stats. So that was enough for Fire for Effect, Ace Tanker, and a Lavashlios medal for Isla's Largo there. And he actually says it here, 75% crew with no skills, so a pretty potato-y crew. Having a look at how each of the teams did, Isla managed to finish with 1101 damage done, 3 kills, 948 base experience. The other people of note, there was a friendly M10 Wolverine who did over 1300 damage. Congratulations to him as well for a fairly decent match. 24 shots fired, 12 hits, 12 penetrations for that damage count, most of which was from fairly close range. Judging by the derpy nature of that gun, I think it would have to be from fairly close range. 4 enemy vehicles spotted, 5 of them damaged, 3 destroyed, 217 assistance damage, 59 base capture points, in order to get the win as they did by capping, just over 2 kilometers travelled, and a profit of 19,500 credits there with a premium account. So for a bottom tier tank with a pretty dodgy crew, very nicely done there. Third replay then, and this time we're moving up another tier, and we're joining Dampney in his Type 3 Chinukai. And actually Dampney has 2 marks of excellence on his gun barrel, so he clearly gets on alright with this tank. I'm not going to say he clearly likes it, because I've got tanks with 2 marks of excellence that I really don't like, but, you know, he clearly does okay in it. This one is, if memory serves, going to be pretty short and bloody. We're here on Himmelsdorf, Dampney is top tier, and by his own admission, this is not kind of a huge display of skill. Dampney is basically going to hold down W until the game is over. Hello, Mr. M7. Hello, Mr. T80. Now, the Chinukai is not overly endowed with armour. But apparently in this game it is still occasionally going to work. And it does help when it's lower tier tanks who are shooting you. So that's 2-0 for the friendly team. M8A1 around the corner. Friendly is determined to block Dampney, so he's just like, fine, screw it, I'm going to have a go at a Lux instead. Lux is now dead. Panzer 38 NA. Oh, T28. Who's next? Come on. We'll take all comers. So Dampney just barrels around the corner, and oh Jesus Christ, that's still pretty much 0 damage. I mean, that was 1 HE damage from the Hetzer somehow. Oh, that's 79 HE damage from the Hetzer. The Hetzer's using the 75mm gun and still firing HE. You're doing it wrong, my friend. You're doing it wrong. Hello, artillery, and him denied the ram kill, unfortunately, so ramming the Panzer 38 instead. And one more shot. There we go, having hoisted the guy high up into the air. Kill number 3. VK2001 in the background. 001, for some reason just made me think of James Bond. Don't ask me why. Scoreline's 11-2, by the way. Valentine over here to the left-hand side, and Dampney is just going for it, auto-aiming like a boss. So, pew, there we go. Who needs to actually aim your guns when you can just do that? Japanese bias confirmed. And the VK is now the only one left alive. No, he's not announcing his attacks. No. Not that sort of Japanese bias. VK2001D is the only one left alive, and I'm not sure if Dampney's going to get over there before he dies. He's not, and that's the game over in just a shade over 2.5 minutes. There we go. Told you it'd be quick. Very quick and dirty there, of course, from Dampney. Ace, tanker, bruiser, fighter, fire for effect, and a high caliber medal. 1600 damage done, nice round number, 4 kills, 1038 base experience. Basically just holding down the W key until all the enemy tanks were dead. Can't really complain too much about that. 17 shots fired, 14 hits, 14 pens for that damage count. 5 hits received, 4 penetrated, 1 did not. 110 damage blocked by his armour, 4 enemy vehicles spotted, 9 damaged, 4 destroyed, 90 assistance damage, only just over a kilometre travelled, and a profit of 47,500 credits. God bless those premium tanks. And a bit of XP thrown into the bargain, on all in 2.5 minutes. None too shabby. Let's have a look at the last replay for this video. Last replay for this video then, and we've jumped up another tier and we join Langdog in his M8 Fury. M8? Good lord. M4A3E8. I think it's A3. Fury. Anyway, this is the film tank of the same name. Wargaming tag teamed, brought it out. It's basically a Sherman Easy 8 with a couple of small differences here or there. It's essentially a Sherman Easy 8. Which is the reason I never bought one, because I already had a Sherman Easy 8, which I do like, but I just play that instead. So, he is in a tier 6 match, which helps. Here on the Arctic region map, let's just make that mini-map a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. Straight off the bat, interestingly, Langdog is actually going down to what would generally be considered the heavy tank brawling area. And this is interesting because the Fury, being an Easy 8 Sherman, is not overly endowed with armour. That's more the Jumbo's forte, and I guess the Thunderbolt, to be fair. But the stock Easy 8, or not the stock Easy 8, but the regular Easy 8, and by extension the Fury, overly endowed with armour, not so much. Also, whilst I love the Easy 8 Sherman, it's not a perfect tank, and the gun, well, it fires quickly. On my Easy 8, the reload is under 3 seconds. But 128 penetration and 115 alpha damage at tier 6, it's a little on the weedy side. You can pump that penetration up to 177 by firing a little bit of APCR. The high explosive rounds are also not particularly impressive, but Langdog is going to be doing a little bit of flanking here. By the way, has anyone been keeping track of the team scoreline, which currently reads 0-5? You know it's a good one when it's 0-5. So a couple of shots there from Langdog. One hits, one doesn't matter too much. One of the nice things about the Easy 8, and by extension the Fury, is that it's a tier 6 tank that can mount a vertical stabilizer, God bless the Americans, which makes it surprisingly good at shooting on the move. It kind of plays a bit like a tier 6 Comet in my considered opinion. AT2 there, worth bearing in mind. This is, I can't remember the exact patch of this replay, but this is prior to the changes to the British tank destroyer line. So this is a pre-nerf AT2. It still has a metric boat ton of armour. So Dampney is in a tank a tier higher, and he's still having to aim for the weak spot there to take the damn thing out. Heavy tank number 6 has retreated back to that position, and unfortunately Langdog there fails to penetrate the guy, and he penetrates Langdog's Sherman, which is a bit of a shame. One thing I will say about this tank is it is very pretty. Anyway, scoreline is, I was going to say 4-8 and then it became 5-9. It's not looking great. I mean, it's not 0-5 levels of at least the friendly team have some kills on the board. But it's not great. Langdog, having a couple of brain cells to rub together, has noticed that the enemy team are soon going to be all over their base like a bad rash, and is heading back there to do something about it. A lesser player would have casually ignored that, held down W, driven across the map, achieving absolutely nothing, and then wondered why he'd lost. So, thank goodness for some situational awareness there. Langdog loads his 1 HE round. I'm not really convinced by that. I mean, the HE rounds can occasionally be useful, but the AMX's armour isn't bad enough to really warrant it. Interesting engagement this, though. The AMX, I think, is actually reloading his mag at this point, which is very bad for him, because Langdog is able to do that whilst taking minimal damage in response. That's Langdog's 3rd kill, by the way. And he's up to 965 damage that we've seen. I always say that we've seen, just in case there's any hidden damage that crops up at the end that we're not aware of. So, it's Langdog, a 5 health SU-100Y, and an OI, of course being a very strong tank, but also being quite a long way away, versus a Lefefer 18B2, a Grilla, AMX ELC, VK3001H, Hell Kitty, and an M8 A3E8. Sorry, M4 A3E8. I'll get it right in a minute. The regular Easy 8 Sherman. So, shut up. I will get it right one day. So, this is not looking particularly great. I don't know what the Stug is expecting the Fury to do here. I mean, he's saying Fury still sits. I mean, Langdog has been defending this area. He has taken out the French light tank, and if he'd driven forwards to help that SU-100Y, he'd have just made himself another corpse onto the pyre. So, yeah, go figure. Enemy Easy 8 is mounting the derp gun, so his accuracy is going to suck, but if he hits, it's going to hurt. But looks like the guy, oh no, he puts in 1 shot on the move, and Langdog is not quite able to pick up the kill, which is a shame. But Langdog is now alone versus 5 bad guys, by the way, just in case anyone hadn't noticed. Bounces on the VK there. Would really like to be able to reset this VK. That's where you want that 1 HE round that Langdog used to take out the AMX, although I probably would have missed here anyway. You can see that accurate the gun on the Easy 8 Sherman, and hence the Fury is not. If memory serves, it's something like 0.4 dispersion at 100 meters. There we go, there's the reset. And now Langdog can possibly switch attention to that Easy 8, who has fired his derp gun and is still sitting out in the open like a muppet for some reason. And so he dies. GG, well played. So, Langdog decides to leave that VK be for now. He's the only one left. The OI has died, as we've established. And it's as if his spider sense is tingling and he's expecting someone to come up behind him. We haven't seen that AMX ELC in a while. But no, it doesn't look like there's anyone back here. And Langdog doesn't really have the time to drive all the way around the map and come at the VK from an unexpected direction. So he's just going to have to engage the VK from where he is. Having said that, he did noticeably back off. So it's possible that the VK will have slightly changed position into a less defensible one. I can but hope. Oh, hello Mr. AMX. How are you doing? If Langdog can pick up this kill, that would be really valuable. Looks like the AMX, or the ELC, is actually using the stock gun, or at least not the fully upgraded gun. Pew! And he's dead. Manages to... I wish this Stug would shut up. Manages to not die to the ELC, and this VK appears to not be there? I don't know. Has he just gone to make a coffee? It looks like he's gone to make a coffee, or maybe a cup of tea, or possibly get a sausage. Who knows? Oh, no, he's back in the game now. There we go. Just in time to die. Grilla manages to just hit Langdog with some splash. And so Langdog is going for it. 1 shot, 2 shots, tickly under there. And he's dead. And that just leaves the French artillery piece. The caliber of the enemy team here hasn't exactly been fantastic. But then again, Langdog was outnumbered 1 versus 5. Now, this is not a foregone conclusion. That French artillery piece can be a right little swine. And the M4 does say, apparently the Lefebvre is firing a P. Go figure. So that does mean if he hits, he's going to do a lot of damage. So Langdog is coming up to try and find this French artillery piece, take the guy out, and that would wrap up the game, which would be a really nice way to end this video. Of course, it's entirely possible that Langdog finds the artillery looks at him, blows Langdog away, although you'd probably have to have an ammo rack or a high damage roll or a fire or something to achieve that at this point. But either way, Langdog's going for it. And you can see here the mobility of the Fury isn't too shabby. It's mobile enough, good gun depression, so go figure. Now, this is not a foregone conclusion. Never, ever, ever count artillery out. It can all go hideously wrong just when you don't want it to. I mean, you never want it to go hideously wrong, but you know what I mean. Just gonna see what we can find. Has this artillery piece relocated? It looks like he might have done. Or possibly set up an ambush somewhere. Well. Oh, no, there he is. Never mind. Looking the wrong way. Langdog flubs the first shot. He's using auto-aim here, which is actually a bit of a mistake, because auto-aim just goes for the centre of mass. And that artillery piece is only showing the top bit of his tank. 1 more shot. Boom. There we go. The guy is dead. Voila. 1 match. So for the last time in this video, let's check out those post-game stats. So, there we go. Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Fire for Effect, a Pascucci's Medal, a Defender Medal, High Caliber, Top Gun, a Radley Walters Medal, and a Kolobanov's for standing alone. 1 versus 5 at the end there. Very nice result for Langdog in his Fury. 2,589 damage done, 8 kills, 1,519 base experience. Easily outstripping anyone else on either team by either damage or XP or kills. Shoutout should go to the SU-100Y, 1,400 damage, holding a corner on his own and 4 kills. Well done to him. And the enemy 105 Leffy 18 B2. 1,660 damage by him at the end. He missed his shots on Langdog's Fury at the end of that game there, but nonetheless, still he was trying and he was able to do reasonably well for it. So we just ended up with 48 shots fired, 33 hits, 27 penetrations for that damage count, most of which was at close range, which isn't a huge surprise. The gun is hardly a sniper rifle. 3 hits received, 2 penned, 1 didn't. 135 damage blocked by his armour. 5 enemy vehicles spotted, 9 damaged, 8 destroyed, 61 assistance damage, 100 base defense points, and 19 capture points before he killed the artillery right at the end. 3.19 kilometers travelled. 63,500 credits received. Once you take away ammunition resupply costs and all that jazz, 44,000 credits with a premium account. Slightly surprised by those ammunition costs there, 18,000 credits. I think he might have fired a couple of APCR rounds that I missed, because otherwise the ammunition on this thing's so cheap, I'd be very surprised if 48 shots got you 18,000 credits cost. But I could be wrong, I guess. Well, I could easily be wrong. Anyway, a reasonable profit there, and a good amount of XP, as it was ×5 experience for a win at the time when Langdog was playing this match. So there we go, a clutch of subscriber replays for you there in low to mid tier machines that you just don't see very often on the battlefield. If you would like to send me your own replays, upload them to whatreplays.com, send me the link in a PM on YouTube, and I shall take a look. Just remember to not delete those replays. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get round to showing a particular game, I make no guarantees that I'll show a game that you send in. It depends if I've got something I want to do with it, or if there's a particular thing that makes that replay special, or if you're someone new and we've not seen you in action before. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed that replay. If you did, feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.